Kristoffer Eriksson was a Swedish adventurer known for his passion for high-altitude skiing and his fearless approach to the challenges of the natural world. As an accomplished skier and climber, he was drawn to the Himalayas, where he sought to achieve something few had ever attempted: skiing down Mount Everest. His dream was bold, daring, and perilous, reflecting his unwavering commitment to pushing human limits. However, the journey he embarked upon in 2011 would tragically remain incomplete, leaving behind unanswered questions and a legacy of both inspiration and caution. Eriksson's dream of skiing down Mount Everest was not a sudden ambition. His reputation as a skier had been built on years of experience navigating treacherous terrains in some of the world's most unforgiving environments. Known for his technical skills and ability to remain calm under pressure, Eriksson was a respected figure in the mountaineering community. He had successfully skied down other formidable peaks, and Everest represented the ultimate test of his abilities. The plan was to climb the mountain's southeast ridge route to the summit and then ski down the Lhotse face, a steep and icy section that has slopes exceeding 50 degrees. This part of the mountain, covered in hard blue ice and riddled with crevasses, posed significant risks even for seasoned climbers. Eriksson meticulously prepared for the expedition, focusing on both physical conditioning and technical planning. He spent months acclimatizing to high altitudes and training his body to endure the extreme cold and oxygen-deprived environment of Everest. In May 2011, Eriksson joined an experienced climbing team to begin his expedition. The team progressed through the standard stages of acclimatization, moving between base camp and the higher camps to allow their bodies to adjust to the thin air. The conditions on Everest that season were particularly harsh, with frequent storms and extreme cold making progress slower than anticipated. Despite these challenges, Eriksson's determination never wavered. By late May, Eriksson and his team had successfully reached Camp III, situated at approximately 7,200 meters, 23,600 feet, on the Lhotse face. The camp, perched on a narrow ledge carved into the ice, offered little comfort, but it marked a critical point in their ascent. From here, climbers would push toward the South Col, the final staging area before the summit. Eriksson's goal was clear: reach the top and begin his daring ski descent. On the morning of May 28, Eriksson set out with his team for the push to Camp IV on the South Kernel. The weather was stable but frigid, with temperatures plummeting well below freezing. Progress was grueling as climbers battled exhaustion and the effects of altitude. At such heights, the body begins to deteriorate, and even the simplest tasks become monumental challenges. Oxygen deprivation clouded judgment and sapped strength, making every step a test of willpower. Eriksson's determination remained evident as he continued toward the South Kernel. However, during this phase of the climb, something went wrong. Details of what exactly happened are scarce, as Eriksson was climbing ahead of his teammates. Somewhere between Camp II and the South Col, he disappeared. When his team reached the South Col, they realized that Eriksson was missing. Attempts to contact him via radio were unsuccessful, and there was no sign of him on the route. A search effort was launched immediately, but the conditions on Everest made it nearly impossible to conduct a thorough operation. High winds and freezing temperatures hampered visibility, and the risk of avalanches made it dangerous for other climbers to venture off the established routes. Helicopter searches were out of the question due to the altitude and weather conditions. Over the next few days, hope of finding Eriksson alive began to fade. Despite their best efforts, neither Eriksson nor his equipment was ever found. The mountain had claimed another life, adding his name to the long list of climbers who have disappeared in its icy grip. The exact circumstances of his disappearance remain unknown. He may have fallen into a hidden crevasse, been swept away by an avalanche, or succumbed to the effects of altitude sickness and exhaustion. Without evidence, his fate remains one of the many mysteries of Mount Everest. Kristoffer Eriksson's story is a sobering reminder of the risks involved in high-altitude mountaineering and skiing, Everest is a place of unparalleled beauty and danger, where even the most skilled and experienced adventurers can be overcome by its harsh realities. For Ericsson, the dream of skiing down the world's highest peak symbolized the ultimate challenge, but it also highlighted the thin line between ambition and peril. His disappearance sent ripples through the mountaineering community, prompting discussions about the limits of human endurance and the ethical considerations of pursuing such dangerous endeavors. While some criticized the inherent risks of attempting to ski down Everest, others saw Ericsson as a figure of inspiration, a man who dared to dream big and live life on his own terms. Today, Kristoffer Ericsson's name is remembered alongside other adventurers who have perished on Everest. His story serves as both a tribute to human ambition and a cautionary tale about the unforgiving nature of the world's highest mountains. For those who aspire to follow in his footsteps, it stands as a reminder of the careful balance between courage and caution, and the ultimate respect that must be given to the forces of nature. Marco Siffredi's name is etched in the annals of mountaineering history as one of the boldest adventurers to take on the challenge of Mount Everest. A French snowboarder from Chamonix, Siffredi had a dream that few could even imagine: to snowboard down Everest's treacherous slopes. His fearless determination and unmatched skill made him a pioneer in extreme snowboarding, but his journey to achieve the extraordinary ended in tragedy. Born on May 22, 1979, Siffredi grew up surrounded by the towering peaks of the French Alps. From a young age, he demonstrated a natural talent for snowboarding and an unrelenting passion for the mountains. By the time he was in his early 20s, Siffredi had already tackled some of the most dangerous descents in the Alps and the Andes. For him, snowboarding wasn't just a sport. It was a way of life, a way to push the boundaries of what was possible. In 2001, at the age of 22, Siffredi set his sights on Mount Everest, the tallest and most unforgiving mountain on Earth. Unlike climbers whose sole goal was to reach the summit, Siffredi's mission was different. He wanted to descend Everest's slopes on his snowboard. His chosen route for this historic attempt was the Norton Couloir, a steep gully on the north face of Everest. Siffredi's first expedition to Everest was a success. On May 23, 2001, just one day after his 22nd birthday, he reached the summit. Exhausted from the climb, he strapped on his snowboard and began his descent down the Norton Couloir. The conditions were far from ideal. Patches of ice and rock made parts of the route nearly impossible to navigate, but Siffredi's incredible skill and determination saw him through. He became the first person to snowboard down Everest successfully, cementing his reputation as one of the greatest extreme snowboarders of his generation. But for Marco, one achievement wasn't enough. He had his eyes on a more challenging and dangerous route, the Hornbein Couloir, another gully on Everest's north face. The Hornbein Couloir was steeper, narrower, and far less forgiving than the Norton Couloir, with snow conditions that could vary wildly. No one had ever attempted to descend this route on skis or a snowboard, and Marco was determined to be the first. In the spring of 2002, Marco returned to Everest for his second attempt. This time, he joined a team of experienced Sherpas and climbers who supported his daring ambition. On May 8, after weeks of acclimatization and preparation, Marco reached the summit of Everest for the second time. However, the climb had been grueling, and conditions at the top were far from ideal. Despite the fatigue and warnings from his team, Marco decided to proceed with his plan to descend the Hornbein Couloir. As Marco prepared for his descent, the Sherpas who accompanied him expressed concerns about the snow conditions. The Hornbein Couloir was notorious for its unpredictability, with patches of unstable snow and hidden ice. Marco, however, was undeterred. For him, this was the culmination of years of preparation and a chance to achieve something no one had ever done before. He began his descent from the summit, but almost immediately, the conditions proved to be more challenging than anticipated. The snow was thinner and less stable than expected. and the steepness of the Hornbein couloir left no room for error. Members of the team watched from the summit as Marco disappeared into the couloir, making smooth but cautious turns down the slope. That was the last time anyone saw Marco Siffredi alive. He vanished into the vast expanse of the North Face, leaving his team and the climbing community in shock. A search was conducted in the days following his disappearance, but no trace of Marco or his snowboard was ever found. The exact cause of his disappearance remains a mystery. Some speculate that he may have fallen into a hidden crevasse or been swept away by an avalanche. Others believe that the sheer difficulty of the descent, combined with his exhaustion, may have led to a fatal error. Marco Siffredi's disappearance was a devastating loss to the world of extreme sports and mountaineering. At just 23 years old, he had already accomplished what many could only dream of. His successful descent of the Norton Couloir in 2001 remains one of the greatest feats in the history of snowboarding, and his attempt on the Hornbein couloir stands as a testament to his courage and determination. Though his life was cut tragically short, Marco Siffredi's legacy endures. He is remembered not only for his incredible talent and fearlessness, but also for his unwavering belief in pushing the boundaries of human achievement. For Marco, the mountains were more than just a playground. They were a place to test the limits of possibility. His story serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale about the dangers and allure of chasing the extraordinary.